Hello there and welcome. Today we are talking about CoolSculpting Stomach Fat because abdomen is the number one area that people have questions about or are interested in whenever they're thinking about non-surgical fat reduction. My name is Jessie. I am the founder and one of the CoolSculpting providers over at Element Body Lab, the Dallas CoolSculpting Experts. And today I want to talk about, can CoolSculpting get rid of belly fat? I want to show you some before and after photos of clients we've treated and walk you through really everything that you would need to know when you are doing that initial research phase. So let's talk about what types of fat CoolSculpting can target in the midsection, in the stomach, in the abdomen, the belly fat, because really we carry two different types of fat through the stomach area. We carry what is called visceral fat, which is the fat that lies below the muscle wall. And we also carry subcutaneous fat, which is the fat that lies above the muscle wall. You can see a really useful photo of this, just kind of describing what it is that I'm talking about over here, just to make it a little easier. And really, CoolSculpting works uniquely and specifically on subcutaneous fat. So the fluffy layer of fat that lies above the muscle wall is what CoolSculpting can target. So sometimes people are looking for a way to lose weight, or they're looking for a way to get rid of that visceral fat that lies below the muscle wall because they want to lose weight. They want to live a little bit healthier of life. And unfortunately, CoolSculpting cannot target that visceral fat. The reason being is the same reason that actually keeps CoolSculpting such a safe technology, because it's not cold enough to actually do any damage to muscle, blood, nerves, cells, any other surrounding tissue. We're limited with the types of fat we can treat. So keep in mind that CoolSculpting specifically targets that fluffy layer of fat on top. And so whenever you're thinking about, does CoolSculpting work? And is it going to work on freezing away some unwanted stomach fat? It's really important that you align your goals and your expectations. It's really important that you understand how CoolSculpting works. And really what we do is we use different sizes and shapes of hand pieces that use suction to draw fat away from the body and into these elongated cooling cups. So inside of those cooling cups, we get the fat really, really cold. If you imagine almost putting a cup of warm butter in the refrigerator overnight, changes the texture of the fat cell. That change in texture triggers an inflammatory response where your white blood cells, which are called macrophages, come along and digest the frozen fat. It's a whole natural programmed cell death called apoptosis. And what you're left with is about 20 to 25% less of the treated tissue. That's with each session. So sometimes people want more aggressive results than just 20% of the fat gone. I know that was the case whenever I was looking for CoolSculpting in my stomach area. And so I did a series of treatments. It was really that subcutaneous, that fluffy fat that lied on top of the muscle wall that bothered me. And so I knew I had the right type of fat, but I did need to do a couple of sessions in order to be able to see the results that I was looking for. So we can help you figure out what are those goals, what expectations should you have at a consultation. We're happy to do that. If you're in Dallas, Texas, we'd love to serve as a resource to you. I'll make sure there's a link to book a consultation wherever you're watching this video, because we really are all about getting you the results that you're looking for, or pointing you in the right direction if CoolSculpting isn't the best solution for you. Because CoolSculpting is a great tool, but it's not the only solution whenever it comes to the world of body contouring or getting rid of stomach fat. Now, I do want to show you some of the before and after photos, and these are all clients that we have treated here within our four walls at Element Body Lab in Dallas, Texas with the CoolSculpting technology. Now, this client came in and she said no matter how hard she was working at the gym, she just had this fluffy layer of fat right around her midsection and she wanted softer curves through her love handles. So a lot of times stomach is also combined with love handles to get rid of the muffin top all the way around the abdomen or all the way around the pant line. That is absolutely possible. So this is a client who had 2 rounds of treatment, 2 sessions to the abdomen and love handles to be able to get to her ideal outcome, her ideal shape. So whenever we started talking about how many cycles or how many sessions that you might need, that's part of the consultation is, well, what results are you looking for? Because how many cycles has to do with your anatomy, but how many sessions has to do with your response rate and results. And we're happy to serve as a guide. This client in particular had 2 rounds of treatment or 2 sessions. Now, this is another client. She's a little older. So this client, she's in her 20s. This client, she's in her 50s. She's a mom. She really just wanted to get rid of the excess fat. You'll notice we've come a long way in our photography skills. So we've gotten much better with being able to get you in consistent undergarments and have a really great backdrop. And for this client, she did a series of treatments. So since she was a little older, she had a little bit slower of a metabolism and she didn't respond quite as aggressively as this client here. So she needed a series of treatments. It was between 3 and 4 sessions in just different areas on her abdomen and her love handles. And that got rid of the fat. Whenever she said, I just want to get rid of my stomach fat, what she meant was the full 360 around her midsection. Now, this is another client who's a mama. She had a C-section. She wanted to know, could you do CoolSculpting to get rid of my C-section scar or the fat around my C-section scar? And as you can see, absolutely. We will customize the treatment and how and where we place these handpieces to your unique anatomy. We're going to customize it based off of any scar tissue. That includes C-section scars, but also just any scarring. Any type of dimpling, how and where we place these handpieces makes a huge difference in the results that you see. And so our dedicated CoolSculpting experts are designed and trained and really equipped with the understanding of how to get these natural looking results. And so I want to show you a different view because again, she just really wanted that pocket of fat right at her C-section scar to pull in so she didn't notice it whenever she was wearing fitted garments. And some clients, I've shown you some really, really fit clients, but some clients have a little bit more fat. And so sometimes people want to know, is there such thing as being too big for CoolSculpting? The answer to that is yes and no. So it depends upon your goals. It depends upon your expectations. Now, this is a client who wanted less volume. She wanted less fat, but she didn't really care at all about the texture of the skin. So you'll notice she does have stretch marks and that CoolSculpting did not get rid of her stretch marks, but it also didn't make the stretch marks any worse. So for a while, she did notice that her stretch marks did look a little darker. They almost looked a little angry. But by the time she got to full result, which is at about 3 months after your session, all of that has minimized pretty significantly. But for her, it wasn't about losing weight. It wasn't about changing the texture of the skin or getting rid of stretch marks. So that's why I encourage you, talk to our CoolSculpting providers. Talk to our dedicated CoolSculpting team or a CoolSculpting provider near you to see what are the goals that you have in mind, what is it that you're looking for, and is CoolSculpting the right procedure? Because maybe you're looking for results. Maybe you have a little bit of fat. Maybe you have a lot of fat. Maybe you're somewhere in between. But this is a client who she really wanted less fat, but she also wanted more muscle definition. So it's important to keep in mind that CoolSculpting will get rid of fat, but muscle definition is not part of the deal whenever it comes to CoolSculpting. If you're looking for more muscle tone, there are alternate procedures that you can actually build up some muscle definition, or you can just work on that the old-fashioned way with some heavy weightlifting and exercise. And we can talk about all of the different shapes, the places that bother you. Because for some people, they want softer lines. For some people, they want an exaggerated waistline. For some people, they want less fat around the belly button. For some people, it's the full midsection. And for some people, it's really just through the lower belly. So I've shown you a lot of female clients, but CoolSculpting also works on men. So whenever you're wondering, do men respond better? Can CoolSculpting address male stomach fat? Absolutely. CoolSculpting does not discriminate. So whenever you're thinking about unwanted fat, people of all genders, all ages, ethnicities, everyone carries fat in the body. And so CoolSculpting can be a great tool to target those pesky pockets of fat that don't respond to diet and exercise, much like this gentleman here. He carried fat mostly through his lower abdomen, so low belly, and through his love handles. He had a very aggressive treatment. It was 1 round of treatment, but with quite a few cycles to be able to get full coverage and great results. And all different body types come in. All different goals come in. So whenever we want to have a conversation to design a plan, that way we can tell you how much time and how much it's going to cost. It's because we want to know what is the outcome you're looking for. Where are you now and where do you want to go? Because I specifically remember talking to this client and hearing her say, I really only carry fat through my lower belly. And what I said to her was, I totally understand. What I want you to do is put your hand on your lower belly and push that area in. And what you'll notice is if we just take away fat through the low belly, what you're going to notice is that it will make you look top heavy. So this client only treated her abdomen, but she treated the full abdomen. And part of that is because of the experience and just the intimate understanding that we have as providers. So sometimes I have people call me and they say, hey, I went into another facility and they told me this is what I need from a cycles perspective. This is how much they quoted me. Will you do the same thing? And probably not is the answer. We might do the same thing, but all CoolSculpting providers have a different artistic take. It really is just like if you think about all hairdressers use scissors, but not all haircuts are the same. Lots of people have CoolSculpting technology, but not all people have the same level of skill and understanding. And so whenever someone says, can we just treat my lower belly with CoolSculpting? Maybe is the answer, because sometimes people just carry fat through that lower abdomen. So this male client, for example, had great muscle tone, had great definition, but just had this pocket of pesky fat right through his low belly. That was the only place he needed to treat. Another female client, she wanted the illusion of a flat abdomen, and she truly only carried fat through the lower belly. If you only carry fat through the lower abdomen, we're happy to target just lower belly fat. But if you're asking us to make you look unnatural, or if you're asking us to do something that will end up in you looking unnatural, it is our job and our duties to give you that guidance, to give you that feedback. That way you have an understanding and you know what it is that you're asking for. So that is our job as CoolSculpting dedicated providers, along with answering the question of how much does CoolSculpting cost? I've shown you quite a few before and after photos, and really pricing for CoolSculpting the stomach fat ranges usually between $1,500 and $7,200. Now that's a wide range, I know. So on average, clients usually spend somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 on their CoolSculpting stomach transformation. That being said, it can range anywhere between $750 and $10,000 because it depends on where you are and where you want to be. But you can get your hands on our pricing sheet at elementbodylab.com/cost. That's COST. So this pricing sheet that you see right here, you can get your hands on it at elementbodylab.com/cost. And whenever you're thinking about how many treatments are needed for the stomach area, we're going to send you that pricing sheet. But I do want to remind you that all bodies come in different sizes and shapes. So I want to just break down a couple of different treatment plans or a couple of different before and after photos so you can get an understanding of price. That way you have the tools and resources and you kind of know what's next. So this is a male client who came in. He did one round of treatment in an upside down triangle. So 3 treatments in one day with us in office. So some practices call this treatments, some call it cycles. We usually refer to this as cycles. So every time we put a handpiece on the body, we call that a cycle. Usually a full treatment day consists of multiple cycles. So this is 1 treatment day, 3 cycles to be able to get him the results that looks like this. Now, this is a really aggressive result. So this is what usually you would see from 2 sessions or 2 treatment days. So a total of 6 cycles. So if I was to price that out and say, hey, this is a pretty average response for about 2 rounds of treatment. So 2 sessions, 2 individual treatment days spaced about 8 weeks apart. That would be a total of 6 cycles. You'd be looking at $3,600. So that's a good range if you're looking at how much would that result for most people cost. Now for him, he got that result in about half of the time because he was a very aggressive responder. But I want to show you a different body type because this is a gal who came in. She didn't carry in that inverted triangle shape. She carried in a diamond instead. So 4 treatments or 4 cycles in 1 treatment day. And that this is the result she saw from just 1 session. So whenever we're looking at her cost or the investment for her CoolSculpting stomach transformation, you would be looking at a total of 4 cycles or $2,700. Now, if she wanted a more aggressive result, she could certainly do a second round of treatment, just repeat the same plan. If she was to have committed to that ahead of time, she'd be looking at $4,500. So you can see how pricing is customized. It's depending on your anatomy and your goals. And some people need more cycles or more treatments per treatment day to get full coverage. Our job in the consultation is to talk to you about your goals and your expectations and to give you a unique price quote. So after a consultation, you will have our advice. You will have how much will your CoolSculpting treatment cost. And all you have to do is book it online. I do want to remind you, we are a business in Dallas, Texas. I know as people are finding us on the internet, sometimes you may be watching this somewhere else entirely. If you are in Dallas, Texas, I encourage you, please book a consultation with our expert CoolSculpting team. You can do so at the link wherever it is that you're watching this video. It's at elementbodylab.com. If you're looking for a provider near you, we'll make sure to include a link on how to find a provider near you from the manufacturers of the CoolSculpting technology. Now, you do want to do some research. Find someone who's well equipped because, like I said, all hairdressers use scissors. Not all haircuts are good. You want to find the best of the best near you. And you want a really great understanding of what to expect after your session, what to do on treatment day, all of the things. So whenever you are planning your CoolSculpting stomach treatment, I want to remind you that there are risks and side effects. This is a medical procedure, and the only person who can tell you that you are a candidate is a mid or high level medical provider. That's at least the case in Texas. So we have an overseeing medical professional. He's a medical director here in Dallas, Texas, who oversees all of our CoolSculpting providers and keeps us compliant with Texas medical board laws. But the normal stuff to expect after CoolSculpting is going to be redness, swelling, bruising, and numbness. Now, this isn't a photo of an abdomen. This is a photo of an arm, but it's a really, really great explanation of what the bruising looks like after CoolSculpting. Now, some people bruise, but not everyone does. It's just important to keep in mind because if you are keeping your treatment an actual secret from everyone around you, you want to make sure you plan accordingly. And you also want to plan from a timeline perspective because I know by the time you start researching, you are thinking my fat being gone is an emergency. I need results tomorrow. But the average timeline to results is somewhere between 3 and 4 months. You may start to notice some subtle changes as early as 3 weeks, but it's really just some subtle changes. Full results are at about 3 months. And if you are doing a series of treatments, we recommend we space those out, same area, about 6 to 8 weeks. So keep that in mind. You're looking at 3 to 4 months after a second session. Second sessions are scheduled about 2 months after the first. So if you are thinking about being treated today, you're looking at full results 6 months from now. So keep that in mind as you are scheduling and as you are planning your CoolSculpting journey, and also do some research on the risks and side effects. There is a disclosure up above me with all of the FDA clearance verbiage and also how to get your hands on the full safety data sheet that has all risks and side effects. We would be honored to serve as a guide to you if you are looking for a provider in Dallas, Texas. My name is Jessie. I am the founder and one of the CoolSculpting providers at Element Body Lab, the Dallas CoolSculpting Experts. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you in office very soon. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you later.